And it was in this setting that I formulated an idea. What if I could make a long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist, they couldn't avoid the temptation of watching it the second it was published?
I don't have an issue with them.
It's not that I wanted these people to steal my video. It's that I knew they would. I knew they would watch the entire video, add little to no commentary, react to it instantly, giving them no time to form an opinion. The trap was set, and it worked even better than I imagined it would.
So Ethan Klein has set up a copyright trap, and 3 creators fell head first into the well. Let's talk about it. All right, so this is Ethan Klein. He hosts a show called H3 Podcast. It's pretty popular. And he's what I call a left-wing lunatic. And he's in like this civil war with other left-wing lunatics over the Israel-Palestine conflict. Now, this beef started because Israel went into Gaza, started doing their thing after the October 7th massacre that happened in Israel. And Ethan and Hasan viewed things differently. Especially Hasan kind of went really crazy and essentially started promoting terrorist propaganda on his show. And Ethan was a little turned off by that.
Just like brazen, enthusiastic support for Hamas. Like the first 12 hours was just wanton massacre of civilians, kidnapping, desecrating of bodies. And immediately I see so many leftists being like, I stand with Palestine, which I do stand with Palestine, right? But if there's a terrorist attack where 700 people are killed and your immediate response is, I stand with Palestine, how am I supposed to interpret that other than I stand with Hamas? Israel hasn't done anything. They haven't airstriked Gaza. All that's happening is that they're trying to count dead bodies. Settlers aren't civilians. They're, inserting themselves into this violent clash. And I agree with that to an extent. I understand. People who are desperate to defend Hamas are saying that these people were settlers. They were not settlers. There's no settlements around Gaza. These were just normal motherfucking people. Children, family, kids. If you care about Palestine, the way you're framing it is a really bad take. What, that fucking burning families alive should be condemned? Is that a bad take? If that's a bad take, you need to see a doctor. I'm sure me and Hasan will have a conversation about it. Although I don't think he's going to disagree with what I'm saying. Otherwise, he'd probably be a Hamas supporter.
A few moments later.
Hamas is a bunch of psychopathic terrorists of the worst order. And nobody would be crazy enough to defend them. Now, is this Islam again? Hasan defended Hamas? Seriously? Okay. We had to make last-minute changes to this part to prevent it from being age-restricted on YouTube. I cut out the footage from Hamas, and I will attempt to narrate it for you as best I can. In this scene, an older woman is walking hand in hand with a girl who looks about 12. And as they're getting in the back of the van, one of the terrorists gives them a wave goodbye and says goodbye to them in English.
Goodbye.
And the two of them smiling wave back.
That's crazy, dog. Dude. Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. That actually, okay, that's too much. That's more than I expect. Bro, every time they're releasing hostages, the next wave, they're gonna be like, actually, I'm good. Like, I'm staying.
These hostages are being released at gunpoint by the people who likely murdered their family in front of them before kidnapping them. Hasan peddling this narrative that they're sad to leave their captors is beyond disgusting.
The next wave, they're gonna be like, actually, I'm good.
It's plainly obvious these are traumatized victims who are scared for their life and doing what the terrorists are telling them to do in order to avoid any conflict on the way out. Oh, look at the sweet masked terrorist with his AK-47. He's so nice. Did you guys see how he waves goodbye?
Oh, dude, okay, I'm gonna be honest. This is some crazy PR. They look traumatized as fuck. Wait, what? Bro, they look like they're chilling.
This girl who had her foot blasted off on October 7th and then operated on without anesthesia or painkillers is so sorry to say goodbye to her captors. She's gonna miss their hospitality, like being raped and being watched showering and changing.
The next week they're gonna be like, actually, I'm good. Like, I'm staying.
It's It's so obvious the terrorists are telling them what to do. Ethan, how can you say that? They look so happy. Keep waving. These morons forgot to cut out this part.
So just to make it plainly obvious, Hasan is a terrorist supporter. He supports them all. He loves them. And his show is about making terrorism great again, right? Make Hamas great again. So Ethan had to wake up being a Jewish guy who supports the Palestinians but doesn't support terrorism, and decided to cut ties. But the left-wing lunatics decided to try to destroy Ethan's online career by doing everything. And essentially, the way they decided to hurt Ethan was that when Ethan Klein puts up a video, they would take that video and react to it. And what I mean by reaction is essentially stealing Ethan's content, putting it on the channel, making money from his content, and hoping that by doing so, it would limit the amount of revenue and views that Ethan gets on his original videos. So Ethan came up with a plan. He said, well, Hasan has all these followers who are stealing his content. So what he's going to do is going to make a piece of content that they are definitely going to steal. And when they steal it, he is going to sue them for copyright infringement.
And it was in this setting that I formulated an idea. What if I could make a long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist, they couldn't avoid the temptation of watching it the second it was published.
I don't have an issue with them.
It's not that I wanted these people to steal my video. It's that I knew they would. I knew they would watch the entire video, add little to no commentary, react to it instantly, giving them no time to form an opinion. The trap was set, and it worked even better than I imagined it would. We captured pretty much every large streamer reacting to it in its entirety immediately after it was published. Now, the thing is, there were a few people that went above and beyond to commit copyright infringement. For example, Denim sits here silently with nearly 50,000 live viewers. That's 30 times her regular viewership. She's working directly with the Snark subreddit moderators to siphon views, and their intentions couldn't be clearer.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime if you like the content, if you enjoyed your time here.
It turns out they just do it for you. You couldn't cook up a more incriminating statement if you tried. Denim's the queen of self-owning. You prevail again. There's one thing about copyright you should know is that you got to register it before you publish to be eligible for statutory damages and attorney's fees, which is the main biting force of a copyright infringement lawsuit. Well, I'm happy to tell you guys now, I, Ethan Klein, have registered Hasan Piker Content Nuke with the United States Library of Congress. Some of you guys out there sweating?
Well, hell yeah, they're sweating, because Ethan's trap has seemingly caught these creators in a horrible, horrible position. So let's break it down so everyone understands why the legal community here on YouTube is looking at this like, oh my God, he's dropped a major bomb on these creators. So what is copyright infringement?
What is a copyright? Copyright is one of many intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights are rights-protected property interests, even though they are not tangible like a laptop or house. Other intellectual property rights include trademarks, patents, and trade secrets. U.S. copyright laws are codified in Title 17 of the United States Code. In the U.S., registration of a work is not required to have a valid copyright. Just producing and committing something to a tangible form automatically gives you the copyrights to that creation. However, federal registration of a work with the U.S. Copyright Office, part of the Library of Congress, provides additional options and protections to the work's author. A copyright is a legally recognized property right protecting creative, original works that are fixed in a tangible medium of expression capable of being perceived, reproduced, or otherwise communicated. For instance, a songwriter that writes a song can use the Notes app on an iPhone to type or fix the lyrics into a format that is tangible and easily reproduced. Otherwise, the lyrics are just an idea in someone's mind and not easily perceived or reproduced. Likewise, an oil painter fixes her work onto a canvas, a common medium of expression for artists. the same way that a 3D animator might fix his short film into a digital file format, another medium that falls within the scope of the Copyright Act.
You cannot use, copy, modify, or publish that work without permission. If you violate copyright, it's called copyright infringement, and you may face steep consequences, such as lawsuits or criminal charges. The vast majority of movies, music, books, photos, and other types of popular media are protected by copyright.
So now that you have a little understanding of what copyright infringement is, there are exceptions to copyright law. And one of those exceptions, probably the biggest exception, is what's known as fair use. Now, fair use is a defense to a claim of copyright infringement. What does that mean? To understand this concept of fair use being a defense, let me give you an analogy to criminal law. In criminal law, if you kill someone and then claim it's self-defense, then what you're essentially saying is, yes, I did the act. I killed this person, but I was legally justified in doing it, i.e. self-defense. And this is the same thing that happens when it comes to these copyright infringement claims. If you're claiming fair use, you're claiming, yes, I did use the work, but I'm legally justified under this concept of fair use. Just like the murderer or the person who killed someone else is saying, I was legally justified in killing that person under the doctrine of self-defense. Just so we are all on the same page, the ultimate question in a fair use analysis isn't whether the person infringes on the copyright. It's whether the person is legally justified to do so under the relevant law, which is fair use. Now, to determine if a defendant violated someone's copyright or infringed on someone's copyright, the court looks at 4 factors, and they weigh those 4 factors against each other and determine which side is going to win. If the factors weigh in favor of the plaintiff, then you have copyright infringement. If they weigh in favor of the defendant, then you don't have infringement, you have fair use. So what are the 4 factors of fair use? Well, here they are. All right, so the first factor is the purpose and character of use. The key question here is the use of the copyrighted material transformative? Meaning, did you add new meaning? Is there a different message or a different purpose to the use? Now, if it's merely a copy, then this factor is going to go against the person claiming fair use. And a classic example here is parody or commentary, which is often considered fair use, even in a commercial sense. Next is the nature of the copyrighted work. If it's an original work, then you're likely going to be more protected versus if it's something that's factual, like a news report. Think about it this way. If you're quoting from a news article, that's more likely going to be fair use. But if you're sampling someone's hit song, that's less likely to be fair use. The next factor is the amount of the copyrighted work used. Now, the key question here is how much of the copyrighted work did you use, and was it the heart of the work? And what I mean by heart of the work, if you're reviewing a murder mystery and you tell the audience who actually committed the murder, then the mystery is gone, and that would be considered like the heart of the work. Here, the question is about quality versus quantity. If you use a small portion of the work, it's likely going to be fair use unless it's that heart of the work. And the last factor is the effect on the market. The key question here is, does the use harm the market for the original work, or is it a potential replacement for the original work? The question the court's going to ask is, does it reduce the revenue from the original work? Does it replace the original work? Did the person intend for it to replace the original work? Now that you know a little bit about the factors, here is how the court evaluates these factors. First, the court weighs the factors against each other. So for instance, the court takes all the 4 factors and goes through an analysis of each factor and determines if they weigh in favor of the plaintiff or the defendant. Then each factor is weighed against each other to determine the importance of the factor in this particular instance. For instance, each factor can weigh exactly the same. Meaning, essentially, which side wins the most factors will win the argument, whether it's fair use or infringement. But you have other instances where one factor is just so overwhelming that it consumes all of the factors. So even if the defendant, let's say for instance in this case, won on the other 3 factors, the purpose and character factor is just so overwhelming that that becomes the determinative factor. And you can have situations where some factors are less important than other factors. Like for instance, in this example, effect on the market is a huge factor, and that consumes most of the other factors. So this was a super simple explanation to something that's a lot more complex. But what we're now about to do is go over Ethan Klein's video on his copyright trap and see how it runs through the fair use factors. So let's look at factor number 1, the purpose and character of use. Was the purpose and character of the use by these 3 creators transformative? Essentially, did they add commentary, or was this just a passive rebroadcasting? Now, Ethan has given us some timestamps to help us determine what the purpose and character of this use was.
Let's take a look at the complaints, and let's start with my favorite of the 3, the very own, the prestigious, the highly acclaimed, the highly analytical Caseytron. The complaint continues. Indeed, Caseytron is often too obliterated to comment on the nuke, and instead stares blankly at her computer screen. In a span of 2 hours and 7 minutes, Caseytron smokes marijuana, frequently in highly concentrated forms through vaporizers, on 42 separate occasions. At one point, Caseytron is so wasted that she states, quote, "What is happening? I'm trying to follow, but I've lost the plot." To give you an idea, the majority of her commentary comes down to this.
I don't understand this bit that he's doing.
He's read more books than you could ever imagine.
CPM's coming out of Qatar.
What the hell
You
is
kids
going
love anime,
on?
right?
He's read more books than you could ever imagine.
What is happening? I'm trying to follow. I've lost the plot.
They do musicals. They're very musical people. Are you being serious? Dog, what do you look? You think I made this? This isn't a music video, Hasan.
What was that? Oh, sorry. That was a flying star. It almost got me. You know her and you love her, guys. Frogan. Commentary is so non-existent that even her own fans begin to call her out.
Don't have anything to say? Dude, because he's cycling the same fucking points over and over again. What more commentary do you need on him repeating the same fucking points for the whole first hour and 1 minute and 32 seconds? It's been the same shit over and over again. This video could have been condensed into 20 fucking minutes. Like, what commentary do you want me to add by, like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot, he's mentally ill, and he's having a mental breakdown and uploaded it to fucking YouTube? Are you gonna make at least one good point? What do you want me to make a point on?
Oh, I forgot. She also said, "Can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing." You may use the bathroom, Frogan, although I don't advise it.
Can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing.
This into your stomach. And let me state the obvious. Jew and
Apparently thinks Twitch is liable for me interviewing a Yemeni teenager who's only known genocide his entire life.
What happens?
Next is denims. And honestly, just take a look at this, guys. It's a nightmare on Denim Street. Not only did she chair react, but she was kind enough to write her name right at the top just so that we knew that she was stealing my content and it was her room and nobody else's. Judge, did you know that we're on Denim Street right now? The Queen of Self-Own included a countdown timer so we could tell exactly how long she was away. After being gone for a few minutes, she returns and then sits silently for another couple of minutes eating.
I'm gonna go pee, and hopefully, when I'm back, they're done with this.
Right?
You do look better.
Mr. 305. I see it.
Dude, you should do this.
I have an alternate.
We're relying on you to stay live so we don't give more views on the nuke. Yeah, I'm gonna stream it.
So when it comes to the first factor, the purpose and character of use, essentially, were they doing commentary? It doesn't look like they were, and that factor is going to weigh in favor of Ethan. Now, before you guys say, hey, it wasn't commentary, it's automatically not fair use, remember, these are factors and they have to be weighed with the other factors. So let's move on to factor 2, the nature of the copyrighted work. The key issue here is, was the original work factual or creative? Now, we don't really have to go into any clips for this because Ethan claims that he deliberately created this long-form, commentary-heavy, creative video, The Nuke, to test if it would be misused. Now, this piece of work contains storytelling, satire, political commentary, and has edited interviews. So when it comes to the nature of the copyrighted work, it's highly creative, which generally weighs against fair use. But again, it's just another factor. So at this point, I have Ethan winning 2 of the 4 factors. But what about factor 3? The amount of the portion used. Well, here, let's just be clear. They watched the entire thing. It was from end to end. So if they're watching the entire video, then the amount used is all of it. And again, if you're using all of the copyrighted work, it tends to hold strongly against fair use. Just by the fact they use the entire content weighs in favor of Ethan. Now, with 3 factors in his pocket, Ethan's looking good. But remember, 1 factor can consume them all. So let's look at the 4th factor. The effect on the market. Now remember, this asks, does the use of the copyrighted work harm the market for that work? In other words, by uploading Ethan's entire video on Twitch or wherever they uploaded it to with no commentary or transformation, does it hurt his views on YouTube? And if it does, then this factor is going to weigh heavily in favor of Ethan. Is this a market substitute?
This is the part that really got her sued.
A lot of people have been wanting to watch this without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein. Without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein. So we're gonna watch it. What the fuck is going on here?
Stating outright that her intention of doing this is so that people who don't want to support me can watch it through her is why copyright infringement laws exist. You could not and should not do that, especially if your commentary consists of you taking bong loads.
Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate everyone's support. And thank you for watching it with me. First time viewer, time to watch the nuke ethically? Hell yeah. I found my way from Reddit. Hi guys, welcome Reddit people. Reddit people, Reddit people. I came from the H3 Snark Reddit. Ethan is so pathetic while Hasan is in Japan. I'm bothered having a great time. Exactly. We're gonna watch it live, yes. He doesn't want people to know when it's dropping because we're all watching through other streamers. And I suggest you all watch it through other people as well.
It's the stated malicious intent to steal.
We're relying on you to stay live so we don't give more views on the nuke. Yeah, I'm gonna stream it. Since he confirmed it's coming out today, we're gonna stream it. If you want to watch it with someone else who's already watching it, you know, come enjoy the watch party somewhere else. If you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime. If you like the content, if you enjoyed your time here, because I'm going to be honest, I did not want to watch that by myself.
Let me also commercialize it by asking you to reward me financially for stealing his content. That is like chef kiss. By the way, Denims had a very successful stream. She had 43,000 people watching her live. Take a look at the title of her Twitch stream. Ethan Klein Hasan Content Nuke Watch Party. A watch party? I don't think that's fair use. Now, Denims, of course, always delivering the goods. She went on this dude's podcast to debate fair use. And would you be surprised if I told you she said a lot of incriminating things in that podcast?
I want to be clear on my opinion on like filler content and stuff. Like, I think filler content, like, you shouldn't do it. I know I do it as a React streamer. And I try to do it only when I do it with like Vox videos or Vice videos and stuff like that, because at least I'm not like directly ripping from one content creator and not like a whole team and stuff. And most of those videos have like 5 million views. I only get like 500 viewers. I'm taking maybe 50 views from the video. It's a lot harder to feel like, I guess, bad about that. Whereas like I would feel very bad about doing that to like a single content creator. The majority of people say that they literally wouldn't watch Hell's Kitchen unless I was streaming it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm reacting hard enough. You know, I'm sure if you click on a random part in the video, I might not be saying anything, sure, whatever. And I might walk away from the screen. But it's about like the communal thing. It's why like fucking Toast started streaming Death Note. It's not about the actual show at a certain point. It's the same reason you watch shows with your friends. You want to watch it with other people. A lot of people go to watch streamers on Twitch for their React content almost as a curator. So they don't actually want to go through YouTube themselves and watch a bunch of videos. And they probably never will go through YouTube and click a bunch of videos. They like going to Twitch because they like to have it as like, this streamer is curating fun content that I want to watch.
Like, I'm sure
From the people that I've talked to, the people who watch Twitch content are specifically there to watch it so they don't have to scroll through YouTube and find a video they like. If someone watches content, I already said this, if someone watches content on someone else's stream, there is a very low likelihood that they're going to go watch it separately and give you like the view or the like. Or the people who are watching content on Twitch, curated Twitch content on Twitch, aren't necessarily people that would be watching content on YouTube.
So it's obvious. These idiots have essentially admitted that their content is not fair use, it is a market substitute for the original, and that it's extremely no commentary, not transformative. Like if you're a copyright lawyer, you're probably screaming in the air if he hires you, like, yes, we're going to trial. Like what could be their defense? Their defense isn't we didn't infringe on the copyright, it's fair use, but all these clips of them saying how it's not fair use. It's a market substitute. I don't want you to watch the original on his channel. There's absolutely no commentary except for smoking and just looking dumb at the screen. They even walk away. These creators are in some serious trouble. Okay, so what's next in the story? Well, Ethan has registered this copyright, meaning he can get what's known as statutory damages. Now, statutory damages are brutal. First, it makes it easy for him to get cost of litigation. That means attorney's fees, that means court costs, and that itself can be up to $100,000 to $200,000 in a case like this. Do these creators who stole his work, do they have that type of money? That's going to be tough. So we're looking at possibly that much in attorney's fees. That's what statutory damages get you. Second, you get statutory damages in the amount of, let's say, a dollar amount per violation. So here there was one violation. Now, if that violation was innocent, totally accidental, hey, we violated your copyright, but we didn't mean to, that's a $200 hit per violation. Now, if you can prove that it's negligent, not innocent, but negligent, you can be hit with something from $750 all the way up to $30,000 per violation. That's if it's negligent. Now, last but not least, if Ethan can prove that this infringement was intentional, not accidental, not negligent, but intentional.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime.
That number goes all the way up from $30,000 to $150,000 possibly per violation. That's a hit. All right, first I got to thank all the people who told me to watch this video and recap this and go through it, because I think the three women that were featured here that Ethan Klein is suing are screwed. They are done. This is my opinion, but they are done. I think they are, it's finito. It's done. It's over. There's nothing else. What more is there to do? It's like it's over. If I were them, if I were their attorney, I'd be like, hey, we need to make a deal. We need to do something to get out of this. Because if this goes to court and we lose on fair use, we are done. We are done. We got intentionality here. We have using every bit of the content. We have you not reacting to it. It's all here. It's all here. So now I'm just gonna ask you, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Ethan's gonna win? I just don't see how he can lose. It's like it's a no-brainer. This is literally a no-brainer. Well, that's my opinion. What's your opinion? Let me know in the comments section. Let me know if you think Ethan doesn't have a chance. If you think this is all BS, I think he's got him dead to rights. I think he's got him dead to rights, and he's going to spend some serious money to get them. And I think he should. I think he should, because they are actively trying to destroy his livelihood by stealing his content and siphoning views to Twitch. So they FAFO'd. So with that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, to all your great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I'm out. Peace.